Hi everyone, my name is Kabir Adeyemo. For those of you that don't know me, I am an intellectual property and entertainment lawyer, and I'm officially welcoming you to the first edition of the Creative Room um, with Kabir. Right, the idea of this particular room is just to be able to interact and share ideas with respect to the most salient issues that are not discussed enough in the entertainment industry. So, and I see that a lot of many creatives, to put it that way, are always very confused as to how to navigate their career. So it's one of the reasons why we feel this particular room is very important, so we can be able to like touch on the major and most important questions so that creatives are going to be more enlightened. I mean, it's not just about the legal side. You have to also know that as a creative, there are so many things that you can do that can be much more beneficial to you than just creating, right? And you just need to like get that checklist or that Bible. I mean, that's why it's best for you to like listen up. And yeah, and joining me today is are two gentlemen. Like one is his name is Inioluwa, and he's my boss. He's also a lawyer, and I mean, you guys might know him as the brain box behind the most talented, or maybe one of the talented artists that we've seen in recent times in Africa, Fola, right? And he's going to be joining us today. Also joining us is my wonderful friend all the way from South Africa. I mean, I met this guy at an event last year. It was very cool. The few times that we were able to just exchange some conversations and ideas, I was like, oh man, this guy has like luck it in. So I will just be pulling them up now. And hi, bro, how's it going?
How's it going, Kabir? Thank you very much for
Doing it.
having me. It's such an honor and a privilege to be on this platform. I look
Yeah.
forward to learning and also sharing expertise.
Nice, nice, nice. I mean, a lot of let's just dive into the whole discourse of today. A lot of people might want to like know who you are. I mean, is it possible for you to just introduce you? I mean, I tried to like introduce you, but that's my from my own perspective. Let's know who you are.
Okay, that was a very good introduction, my friend. Thank you very much. But if I was to put it in my own words, my name is Asha Takuzwa Nyambi. I am the founder of Samora Central, which is a creative agency. We do PR, we do marketing, we do events, we do creative strategy as well. Formerly, I was the Southern African editor of Rolling Stone Africa, and my editorial journey has taken me through publications like GQ South Africa, OK Africa, Glamour South Africa, Men's Health, High Beast, and publications such as Pulse and Native as well, where I've contributed articles. I am a very big Arsenal fan, fortunately or unfortunately, and I am based between Harare
You
and
have to do that.
Johannesburg.
I mean, yeah, the last time I asked for your bio, I mean, it was very long. I was like, oh, we need to reduce this thing. So it's very great. I mean, having you here. And my first question to you is just going to be, do you think talent is like still the main currency for creatives in like 2026, or has something else taken over or taken?
Well, I think the one that's defined by technological advancements such as AI. And we also see that within our structures, because of social media, which is a blessing, thank God for the
Yeah.
internet, our content can be seen across the world in real time. So if you're releasing a TikTok in Lagos, me in Johannesburg can see it on the same day as it happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what happens is that at times the market seems saturated. And yes, talent will break through. Talent will always be a marker for excellence. People who are talented will always flourish in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like right now, if we look at music, artificial intelligence is advancing.
Yeah.
They can also make music. It can also write. It can also um, like do a lot of creative things. But I think that we're moving to a place of authenticity and branding,
Mm-hmm.
whereas we're not going to be interested in the thing as much as the people and how it's made.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a situation where now people who can create a brand for themselves in an industry will
Yeah.
flourish. People who can tell the best stories will flourish. Because no matter how technology advances, the medium still remains the same.
Yeah,
Storytelling
true.
is
That's
still
true.
going to be the foundation for any creative endeavor. And I just think that AI can tell stories, but then the authenticity of the human experience is
Yeah.
something that it cannot replicate. So yes, talent is still relevant, but I feel like in this day and era, it's going to be a more about identity and who shares the story, the brand that tells the story. So stuff such as content and PR is going to be very important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. I mean, that's a very good one. So I mean, can you hear me? Okay, so Osha, can you hear me very well?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So when you first started, I mean, when you just first started out as someone working in the entertainment industry, what do you think is that major lesson that you learned while you were starting out, especially in your early days?
So I think a major lesson that I learned when I started is that this is a people business. Whether
Mm-hmm.
we're speaking of it from the perspective of clients in business or the audience, the consumers of content, everything just has to do with people.
Yeah.
So if you think about the editor of a magazine is a person. The person who's got the access to funding in a brand is also a
Yeah.
person. The person who's listening to music is also a person. So one of the I think major lessons or things that have worked for me is just the ability to one be honest about the work and provide value and
Mm-hmm.
support
Mm-hmm.
people and collaborate, but also now sort of like building a reputation where, for example, if people think of you or if your name is mentioned in a room, they can reference you that, okay, this person is a hard worker, they deliver on time, they have a good attitude. And I think that it carries on to a lot of things because the industry looks a bit big, but it's also quite small.
Yeah, it is.
So I just believe that at the very foundation of everything, try provide as much value, try be professional in terms of how you execute your work, and also try and just leave a good impression on people that you work with. So sometimes you might not start off with a big budget, or you might start off in your phase where you're creating a portfolio. But over time, that portfolio will open doors. And I always say this, that word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. So there's nothing more powerful than a referral. So in any collaboration or interaction, you should always think that how can I provide the most value?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yambi, you're muted.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So I was saying that, yeah, I heard what you said, but there was one question that just came to my head right now. When you say that, what are now the most common things that you feel creative used to like struggle with, even when they are producing great works? So why are they not starting?
So I just wanted to repeat just to make sure that I got your question. You said things that creatives struggle with.
Yes.
I think early on is probably like access to resources. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
you're starting out, Maybe you don't have if you're a filmmaker, you don't have access to equipment, access to maybe gear that you might need to amplify your your vision. Or if you are a musician, maybe you don't have the fancy studio equipment. But my advice would be to literally start with what you have, leverage your community. Sometimes you could work on a collab for collab basis where someone pours into your project and you help them in their project as well. So it's very important that whatever your setback is or whatever situation you're in, try and look at what you can do right now to better your situation. And I would also say that between sometimes we wait for people to give us a seat on the table, but as young people, right now, it's important to create our own spaces, to expand the table, to collaborate with each other. I remember I saw an Instagram post, and it was Ibrahim Kamara from former editor Deeds, and he was basically sharing that in the next 10 or 15 years, the industry is going to look different, and young people who are working with each other now will grow together. So always think long term, because as you grow, also your peers grow and you feed into each other. Sorry, you're muted.
So I have over time, I mean, since I started my journey as a lawyer in the entertainment industry, I noticed that many creatives lack the business literacy. Let me put it that way. So they are not just interested in learning the business side of their creativity, they just want to learn the skill. So if you're a photographer, they are just focusing on learning the skill of photography. A content creator is just looking for new tools to be able to develop their own craft. They don't try to position themselves as thought leaders, as someone that is can be reckoned with in that particular industry. So what do you think, or how important do you think business literacy is very important, is very or how important do you think business literacy is for creatives today, especially with respect to pricing, with respect to contracts and the rest of it?
Okay. So when you talk about the creative industry, we talk about creative business, and I think it comes with each other. Like it's the business and creative business is not silent. So whenever you do business, think of yourself as a mini corporation. Pay taxes, invoice, bill, track, and try and improve your standard operating procedures and create structures within your work. So I remember I was asked in a previous podcast as well, like what I thought about maybe creatives getting into, like, for example, sometimes African parents won't be encouraging of creative careers and they tell you do something else. I'm of the belief that creativity is a skill and it's something that's nurtured through practice and repetition of your craft. So sometimes you might even be in a bigger advantage. Let's say if you went and you studied law and then you end up being in the creative sector as a musician, as an artist, an Afrobeats artist, or you studied accounting. So I just think that try and find yourself a team or support in the various skills you need. If it's accounting, work with an accountant. It could even be your friend who's an accountant who will manage your money in your business. If it's law, reach out to people like Kabir who can give you all the advice you need on contracts, intellectual property, etc. So within your network as an artist, also now think of yourself as a business. What do you need as a business? You need marketing and sales. That would be a booking agent, someone who helps you with your rollouts. You need like legal, you need accounting, you need all of these skills. Some people are talented and gifted and can do it themselves, but I think that creating a small team. But then to add to my previous point, I would say that sometimes you might think that it's a redirection. Maybe you're studying law, you're doing a different course, and you're thinking that, oh, I'm not, but I want to be in the studio. But the thing is that imagine now you have your law degree and you're also cool and clean with the raps. You're also good with Afro beats. You are now in a bigger advantage than any other artist because you can also channel between both brains. So I think leverage what you have, but also always think of a bigger picture. So sometimes we might um, move around and we think that people are not noticing, but people are noticing every single thing that we're doing intentionally. They might not say it, so always put yourself in a good light and invest in skills, invest in a team and network.
Okay, when you say, because I hear you say something about contract the other time, I just want to quickly chip this in. So many creatives will rather just want to do their thing without trying to step on toes, according to them, right? So for an example, an artist can want to, like, maybe a popular artist might want to collaborate with an upcoming act, but because the popular artist is popular and has the leverage, right? The upcoming act is very, very withdrawn as to how much of demand it can make, right? So we know there are industry standard, there are practices in the music industry, especially like music, and in the fashion industry too, there are like standards of how business are transacted, right? But because of the fact that they don't want to limit opportunities, so in what practical way do you think creatives can set boundaries without feeling like they are limiting opportunities?
Um, I think that being very ethical and being very honest and open about how you work, so as to remove any gray areas the way people think that we don't understand what this person is doing. So I think study whatever industry you're in. If you're in music, if you're in fashion, study the standard operational procedures, and also study the case studies, artists who have made it, artists who haven't made it, and artists that are in between, and try and look for patterns. And then once you do that, try and see where you fit in within the scheme of the industry. Some artists are really good artists in terms of music, but some are also very good in terms of how strategic they are and how they work towards their goals. So I think self awareness is important, awareness of your industry is important, and also being ethical and understanding that, okay, these are my limitations, these are my advantages, these are my skills, and this is how I can best position myself in the market.
So just to add to what you just said now, right? It's very, me personally, I usually advise them to just create a structure around what they are doing. And when they create a structure, you know that there's a creative, there's probably a manager, there's a lawyer, there is a road manager and every other person. I mean, you can start small. You don't have to like have a big budget as a creative. You can start small. You can probably just have someone that believes so much in you, and you just believe that, okay, this person believes in me and we can be able to do something together. So if you are now able to get that kind of person in your corner, just do the best that you can and get every conversation routed through that person. You don't have, as a creative, you don't have to be the one to be conversing with these guys, right? You don't have to be the one closing your transactions. You can structure it in such a way that you're delegating some of the duties. So these other creatives are not going to be seeing you as though, okay, you are the one that's been problematic. I mean, most of your team members might even want to play the bad cop on your behalf. You just have to like let them know this particular person, this is what we are going to charge, or this is what we are getting compensated with. But you are the one that will be fronting the conversation. You don't have to do it as a creative. So I mean, now I think we have Ini. What's good, bro? How you doing? You're muted. You're muted. Please unmute.
Sorry, brother.
Please unmute yourself, Ini. You are muted from your end. Okay, so I mean, Osha, I mean, I think that's very like self-explanatory. So it's just best for as creative, they need to properly monetize whatever it is that they are doing, because at the end of the day, that's how they get to build their own legacy. It's not easy for someone to continue to create while you're not earning so much from what you're doing. It's even uncalled for. right? So, I mean, it's now drive me to the next questions about what skills or mindset will matter most for creatives over the next 5 years.
I think when I think about it, learning is a skill. Being able to adapt to changes in the market environment. So I think the artists that will excel are the artists that are not afraid to start in terms of learning new skills. I think AI will continue to grow. The impact of AI in creative will continue to be felt. So I think learning really is a skill. Being able to unlearn and relearn stuff would really be set people apart. So I also think that artists that can tell their stories in terms of, I think personal branding is going to be big, bigger than it already is, because in a crowded market, you have to know how to stand out, and differentiate yourself.
Yeah,
Like if you think of artists like Ashake, it's not only
yeah.
the music, but it's the fashion, it's the world that he
Mm-hmm.
builds with each and every project. So artists that can separate themselves in a crowded market, maybe you can call it PR, you can call it marketing, you can call it storytelling, will excel. But a key insight I'll say is that the most adaptable artists will survive. Yeah, it's definitely technically adapt or die.
Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Thanks so much. I mean, nice to have you here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, perfectly, man. Thanks for having
How
me,
you doing
Kabir.
today? How you doing
Yeah, I'm
today?
doing great. Yeah, I'm doing
So,
great. Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned earlier that you're like the brain box behind one of our talented acts, Fola, right? So there's one question that I've been very, very curious to ask you with respect to how you started off managing, or what you were even doing before you started off managing. I mean, there must have been a particular point in your career where you felt okay, you are not so sure where it's going to like lead to, but you just know that you have to continue to like go. So what's that thing, or what do you think you believed in that sustained your career till now?
First off, it's been a lot of like great stuff, hearing from Usher here, nice to meet you. So I think for me, yeah, back from like my university days, I've always been like quite social person. So like basically I've been so can you hear me perfectly, by the way?
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Yeah, I've been a quite social person, by the way. Like, in uni, I used to like throw parties and things like that. So that was sort of like my, entry into the entertainment space, and at the same time also being like a big music head, So I knew like this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to have like a career in the music business and music law essentially. So yeah, definitely I started out, working at a music law firm, but at the same time, I also created what at the time was one of the very strong music blogs in Nigeria called TXT Mag, and I had like an entire team, doing that because I knew that like to get to where I wanted to do, I needed like a lot of leverage. I needed to have like a lot of things I was doing that was actually causing some level of impact on the culture. So from representing record producers to artists and also helping them out with their marketing and the business side. You know, um, in the past, let's say from my official entry in the music industry in 2019, I've represented, dozens of record producers and artists. And yeah, basically that all led me to where I am right now.
Okay, so we've been talking about the fact that talents might not. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, so we've been having discussions around why talents might not be enough amongst creatives, and I will need your insight as to what you think, or at what point do you think creatives should realize that their talent is not enough.
I think essentially we anything you're doing, like, I think the talent is some level of like the products.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's like ice cream you're selling or whatever product you're selling, there's also the business side of it. So no matter how good your product is, if you can't match with the business, you know it's not gonna work. Cause like um whether it's at the end of the day, like singing and songs, they are products at the end of the day, you know. So and I sorry. So I see it as a fact of you have to meet, no matter how good your product is, if your business is not good, if your marketing is not good, if every other thing around it is not good, you are the only one that will know that you have a good product.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like nobody will be able to find it appealing. So essentially, like it's like the product meeting the business side to be able to have a viable business at the end of the day. Because like just having your talent is not it's never enough for anybody, you know. So all those two things have to meet at a certain point for any artist or any creative to be able to scale.
Okay, so they are usually the talk of, oh, as a creative you have to be authentic, right? So do you think or do you think the high expectation of being authentic could probably affect a creative's trajectory?
Um, so the so like now like I spoke about like ice cream, or let's say like let's even take it back to mobile phones. Like they're like a ton of mobile phones, and they usually do almost the same things. You can place your phone calls, you can connect the internet, you can do a number of all of these things. But at the end of the day, what will make like a device like Apple or Samsung or some of these more known products stand out is basically the authenticity, so to say, like what
Mm-hmm.
you can do with them that you can't do with the other one. So a ton of people sing, there are like hundreds of thousands of songs that are uploaded on whether Spotify or Apple Music or Audiomack or whatever platform daily. So is that authenticity that helps you stand out. But you know, it's now like still trying to meet the business at a middle point, because like that's what's gonna stand out, make it stand out from the hundreds of thousands of artists that sing. Whether it's your delivery, whether it's there's always gonna be just one whiskey, there's always going to be just one Davido, there's always going to be just one Burna Boy. So like, and with all of these artists, like when you hear that voice or you listen to their music, like there's something that makes them stand out. There's always going to be just one Rihanna, always just one, Travis Scott. Basically, because like at the highest level, you see that like the artists have like something to always make them stand out. Whether it's like their fashion, whether it's the way they sing, whether it's the way they deliver their music, whether it's the production. These are all the different things that will come together to make you stand out. Because if you don't stand out, like, and you sound like 100,000 other people, there's no reason why I shouldn't listen to these 100,000 other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, your authenticity is what makes you stand out. But even when you stand out, you still have to get the business right for people to know that you stand out. You
Okay.
understand?
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's like like two halves that have to come together. So you as a talent, as a brand, or as a product, your product has to be different. Whether it's shiny, like if you're like if you're at a as a supermarket or store or whatever, and like you see like so many chocolates or so many different products.
Yeah.
There are some that just even before you open it up, it just stands
You
out. You
already
want to say,
know.
okay, what
Yeah.
exactly is this? I've not seen this before. You understand? What is this new shiny wrapping? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and that's why like marketing and all the other things that come into the business side, are so important in helping a creative to stand out and helping them to be able to or helping them to be able to find new audiences or build communities. You have to be different. You can't be doing the exact same thing Mr. B is doing, and want to do better than Mr. B, or want to do things
Yeah.
different from Mr. B.
Yeah.
Essentially,
Okay.
yeah.
So in your own experience, I mean, picking up from the standouts conversation. So when it comes to you, a creative building a long-term career growth, right? Do you think consistency is actually important, or while you're trying to stand out, you can just try to like change different strategy, you can um try different things?
Hello?
You're muted, Ini.
Yes, sir. Kind from again. I don't think I got the question.
Okay, so I was saying that we are picking up from the standout, that the standout notion that you just delivered now, right? I was saying that when it comes to long-term career growth, right? Do you think it's consistency is the only thing that matter? Let me put it that way. Or there are other things that you can still do, or you still have to, even when you're trying to explore the career growth, try different things, or you just have to like stay on one particular unique thing, on one particular unique lane.
Yeah, I think for me, I see consistency as showing up every day and doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And in this modern age that we are in, there's so many other things that play into it, because like we're in like a game of attention. There are so
Mm-hmm.
many different things that take people's attention away from, you know, the music. So I'm
Yeah,
happy,
I
like,
get you.
whether it's the pictures, whether it's the content videos or the music videos, or whatever creative ways you can come up with to grab people's attention. But like, at the end of the day, you have to be consistent. But I don't particularly see consistency as doing the exact same thing every time, because doing the exact same thing every time would it gets boring at some point.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
Yeah.
consistently showing up in authentic and unique ways would be interesting, because like, it's like, let's say every other day you're changing the wrapping, you're changing the packaging, you're changing the ingredients. So
Mm-hmm.
like, it's like, still the same store analogy, and people walking into the store and wondering, what are we going to see today, what are we going to have
Mm-hmm.
today. But they over time, with consistency, they can tell, or they can know that whatever is going to get us is going to be the best level of
Yeah.
product. Do you understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But you definitely need to switch things up. You definitely need to do things in different ways to be very interesting to, like, people who are enjoying your product at the end of the day. But you need to still show up every day in this modern age.
Okay.
You can, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like, it's harder for artists or creatives to crack it in this modern age, with the aloof strategy. Like, there was a
Yeah.
time where, a lot of people just stay away from social media, stay away from everything, and just, probably only show up when you want to drop music.
Mm-hmm.
For rising talents, it's a lot harder right now, because like we said, there's so much material and there's so much music that comes out every day. So you need to do something to not only stay in the faces of your audience, but also
Mm-hmm.
to captivate them and to let them know that, okay, your work is different from what every other person
Is
has.
doing.
And like, if they want this particular level of quality, if they want this particular level of work,
Yeah.
is you're the only one that's gonna deliver it on this kind of lane. So it doesn't still mean that you're gonna, like, be narrowing your thinking or not actually create, because at the end of the day, you need to actually create really, like, cool stuff for people to enjoy. You understand? But
Yeah.
it's now meeting it at the point where you have to at least try to be consistent enough, so that, like, you're in front of people's faces and people
Mm-hmm.
can see you actually delivering, like, great quality products to them. And like, the audience, I think we're at the age where people are actually smarter than we give them credit for. If you take your time to, create, like, some really, really great content, some, like, great music, great products, I think you definitely stand out in this modern day. When the
Yeah,
business
so
meets
I
it,
mean, I
in the
like
right
that. I
place.
like that a lot. I like that a lot. So I just remembered what myself and Osha were discussing the other time about business literacy for creatives. So I'm just going to like ask you, what do you think protection should mean for creatives in terms of their legal, in terms of their finance, and even emotionally? Because a lot of creatives are like, how do I even qualify it? Are just going through mental breakdowns every now and then, every two days, right? So because maybe their work is not doing well as they expected. So what do you think they should be doing to just be able to protect themselves, their sanity, their legal affairs, their business affairs?
Man, two things. Number one, like, as much as possible, you can't do everything on your own, because, like, it's a crazy business and it's fast moving. Like, there's so much that happens every day, and like, you need, like, actual experts. Whether it's your lawyer, whether it's your management team, whether it's your marketing team, whether it's your production team, you need like actual experts who are every day trying to help you make sure that like your business and everything around you is right. But at the same time, the same way artists are just human beings like every other person. I think one reason why, whatever breakdown they might have is more pronounced is because they're just in the public eye. So everybody goes through, different things at different points in time. You know, theirs might be more public and theirs might be what's the word? Theirs might be more public and theirs might be, you know, probably crazier because like they're under so much pressure and like it's when you have like so many people following you and so many people waiting on you, to deliver, and it's not like it's not like the like other businesses where if you're not doing well you can just go to your house and sleep and stay away from
Mm-hmm.
everything and
Mm-hmm.
everything stays away from you. But even if you're
Yeah.
not in the public eye, people are asking, oh, what's going on, what are you doing, what is wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think everybody on the mental side of things, that's like an important question and an important topic because like I
Mm-hmm.
think as a society, especially from our side of the world, we probably don't take that, the mental protection as important. But like, I think for anybody that might be going through anything, it's important. Same way like if you're having legal issues, you see your lawyer, your professional. If you're having like business issues, tax issues,
Yeah.
whatever marketing as well, you go to the marketing professional. So like for anything of the mind as well, I think like you should also definitely see a professional. I think I'm always open to the idea of people like going to same way if you have a cut in your hand, you go see your doctor. At any different point in time where the pressure it seems like it's more than anyone can take, they should definitely go see a professional to sort of help them get through it.
Okay, I mean that's like a good one, and I think we should actually create a particular session for mental health specifically because there's a lot of mental health issues in the music industry, especially even in the creative industry. Let me just put it that way.
In
There's
all industries actually, man. For
actually,
real,
because
man. Like I think a lot of
there
people
was
are
this
going through
guy.
it.
Really, there was this artist I know from last year. Right now, he's nowhere to be found. He had like he's very very popping. He was doing so well for himself, but right now we don't even know where he is. I mean, there's just been stories about him, and also it's we wish him the very best. But I mean, quick one, what do you think are the biggest pitfalls that creatives like maybe fall into when trying to protect their works?
Yeah, I think it's majorly. I see a lot of times that people think they can do without like the professionals. Like
Mm-hmm.
when people think they can enter agreements, because more often than not, when you see people that enter some of the worst deals or are probably in some of the worst situations, more often than not, like you hear things like they either didn't seek like proper legal or business advice,
Mm-hmm.
or they did not listen. Because it's one thing to seek their advice, it's another thing
Yeah.
to listen to the advice. Because at the end of the day, whoever is your legal rep is just your rep. If you say, "Oh, I don't want to," if it says do A or A,
Yeah.
this says this, and you still say you want to go on with it, you go always meet them for front.
True.
But
True.
I think at the end of the day, it's just more like letting the professionals do their work and actually listening to reason. Because um and it's not like the balance, because it's sometimes there are talk calls because some people believe like they just want this cash out today, but at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, like it's like what are you sacrificing to get that? Do you understand? But
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes like, and it's very easy decisions, because sometimes you see people who get some certain deals with certain amounts and looking at protecting their their
Mm-hmm.
catalog or whatever long term, they don't take those deals, and you see them probably fall into a decline after that, and nobody's ever gonna offer you that kind of money again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance, like like I said, there's a lot of pressure because like you can. I've seen a number of times people say no to certain deals, which are technically good decisions at the time, but in the long run ends up being a bad decision because like nobody's gonna offer you that kind of deal again.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the deal might have come with a lot of strings, but like it's now trying to find the balance of what you want. Because at the end of the day, it's like your it's what's the word? It's what you want that makes it stand out. Like you have to have principles. So, oh, am I just here for the cash outs? I just want to make quick money. I just want to make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
money. If that's what you
Mm-hmm.
want, so that the day you make the money and some other things don't go the way you want,
Yeah,
you know that
yeah.
that was what you wanted from it, and that was what you got. But
Mm.
like if what you want is like you actually want to sit down and build a great catalog and like just have something that you can pass to your kids and pass to so many people like that, your approach to it would be different.
Yeah, got you,
You
got you.
understand?
Let me quickly go to, yeah, Osha, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Cool, cool, cool. I mean, thanks for still staying around. It's been a very, very insightful conversation so far. So let me just ask you like a very quick one. What advice would you give someone who wants to build beyond the trends, the moments? Because I mean, you mentioned TikTok the other time. Many of creatives are just trying to do something or create something that is going to be in line with something that will just blow up fast or go or trend, right? So if someone as a creative is trying to continue to create in at their own space, at their own pace, what advice will you give that particular person if they don't want to follow the trends?
I think my advice would be very similar to Ini. It's a pleasure to meet you, Ini. That the business side of creativity is something that you should consider early on. And also the fact that whatever your leverage is, if you are an artist who's also talented, like or has like a sense of style, leverage that in your work. If you're an
Yeah.
artist and you're funny, leverage that in your work. Like also Ini said, there's not gonna be another Beyonce or another Rihanna or another Ashake, another Fola. You can be your original you. So really look at yourself, look at the industry, um, try and look for a strategy to monetize and see how you can best execute your talents and your vision. Because when you say creative business, it's also a business.
Yeah.
So your work is also a product, whether it be a song, it's a book, it's fashion material. You are literally positioned in the market. So you have to understand that market and also understand your personal story so you can take it to the masses.
Okay. Ini,
Hi.
so if a creative has like the talent, I mean, I think you must have mentioned it while you were narrating some sort of, you were explaining some things the other time, but let me just get it very, very straightforward, right? So if a creative has a talent but does not have a structure, where do you think they should start from?
So the sweet thing of this modern age is it gives opportunities that you never used to have. There's a
Yeah.
time that you have to make a record, you have to try to shop it to a record label, you have to try to shop it to this, you have to try to shop it to that. But today you can build communities just from your phone, like
Mm-hmm.
just by being consistent and building a community on social media. It's easier
Mm-hmm.
said than done. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, you don't just push a button and it all works out.
Yeah.
You understand? But there are too many stories of people actually building from DIY situations and just freestyling on their phones and putting that voice recording on the internet and actually slowly getting there
Yeah.
for for anybody to have an excuse not to be doing something. So
Mm.
you can have an excuse for not having motion because
Mm-hmm.
even if you try your best, you might just not work out. But I don't think there's any excuse for not doing something because in this modern age, you have to be active. You have to post on social media. You have to let people know what you do. I remember like the first project I ever executive produced back in I think 2020 or thereabout. I used to DM, you know, everybody I used to follow personally that yo, I just put this together for this my client. Listen to this, let me know what you think. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and track that to where I'm probably, probably representing probably the biggest new artist in Africa right now. Do you understand? So it's always a process. Nobody just falls in. Like you have to
Mm-hmm.
start from somewhere. Whether you're a business guy, you have guys that probably sing and some that are talented or probably less than. But okay, what can you do with them to sort of build your portfolio? I heard Usher talking about your portfolio earlier. So it's
Yeah.
not everything, especially in your starting days, not everything is gonna be a money grab if you're on the business side. You have to do things to
Mm-hmm.
build your portfolio, to
Yeah.
get experience, to be able to let people know that, oh, you can do this. Then if you're not on the artist side of things, you just have to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Whether it's your phone recordings, the more you record that, the more, whether you like it, it's some level of vocal training, the more your voice, better your voice gets, the better your delivery gets. The same way, and like people that can have access to studios, the more you are in studio, the more you're learning, the better like you get at it.
Yeah.
Whether you're a live performing artist, the more you perform at, whether it's like your local bar or your local restaurant or at
Mm-hmm.
birthdays or at weddings or whatever, there are people in music making a killing off just doing wedding gigs and like live band gigs. Are like
Mm-hmm.
weddings, birthdays, burials, whatever type of situation it may be. So like this modern day, there's no one way fits all path to success. As a creative or as somebody in the business, like you just need to be doing, like you need to be active, like you cannot not be active and expect something to come out of that. It's from your activity and from your actions and the
Yeah.
little steps you are taking every day that like the big break is gonna come out. It's not just gonna come in vacuum. You have to
Yeah.
be doing something. Whether you're in the business, you have to be, even if it's your best friend or your neighbor or somebody, you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
You are not just going to land one day and be representing whoever is the biggest artist or record
Yeah.
producer or whatever in your territory. You know, you have to start from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whether you're also creative, you also have to start from somewhere. You understand? Because like the biggest set of guys are never gonna give somebody without experience and track record, you know, their businesses or their whatever to control, if there's no track record or if there's no level of experience there, except you
Mm-hmm.
get
Mm-hmm.
lucky. You
Yeah.
understand? But you can't build
Yeah.
your life and your career on luck. You have to actually work for it. You have to do the due diligence. You have to go through the path, like, and at the same time it's also not belittling the path because everybody sort of has to go through a certain path to get to where they are. I know you had to go through, I'm sure Osha had to go through something.
Yeah.
I know I
Yeah.
had to go
Facts.
through, and I'm sure most people listening at different levels will have had to go through some different, paths to get to where they are. But it's not to belittle the path, because the path is also a way to the promised land. So it's to know that every task that comes your way or everybody you have a chance to represent, you try to represent them the best way you can. And also as a creative, whether it's that freestyle you're going to post on your Twitter, or even if it's just 20 followers, your 20 followers can be 40 followers more based on how good that product you put out is, or that content you put out is. You see
Mm-hmm.
the kind of things people are shooting with their phones, and it blows your mind. You see the kind of apps that can help you clean up your vocals just on your phones, and it blows your mind. And I remember there's this song. I think if I remember correctly, Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar's "No More Parties in LA." The producer
Yeah.
said he made it on his phone.
Mm-hmm. Are
So
you
there
serious?
there are almost no excuses. And there's a certain producer I represent. I think his name is called Charlie, and he taught himself how to produce from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And right now he's made multiple chart-topping bangers on the charts in Nigeria off what he learned on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Probably definitely with his phone or his laptop.
Mad.
So, that's why I was saying that like there are almost no excuses in this modern age.
Yeah.
It's those days you
Yeah.
can say
Yeah.
that, man, I can't get to OJB's studio, I can't get to this person's studio. But now everything is in front of you. Like the path to success is in front of you. it's not easy, don't get me wrong. It's not easy. Nobody
It's
has
not.
it easy. I don't think anything that
I mean,
is
when
good.
as you're
Yeah.
narrating the whole thing, something just popped up in my head because I would like to ask you like a very direct question, right? Can you tell us what your major win is and what that major down is so far?
Sorry, can you come again?
Yeah, I was saying that we are talking about going through something. I mean, going through a particular part in our careers, right? I was now asking, can you tell us what that major win is for you and the most brutal down for you so far?
Okay. I think my major win is I would say I don't think I can have one specific one I'll say, but for me, like when I'm able to take any of my clients from point A to point B, it's always very special to me because I know what it takes to or understand what it takes to take an artist or a producer from you know point A to point B, and
Mm-hmm.
it's always very, very lovely to me to see
Yeah.
like how we can do work that can impact so many lives. And sometimes you work on music that you see people crying to, you see people being so emotional too. I think for me, I take my wins every day.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? If
Yeah.
today's task is to cross this particular hurdle, when I cross that, that is a major win for me. Do you understand? If
Yeah.
tomorrow's task is because I represent a number of creatives in different
Mm-hmm.
capacities, so different things are like wins. Do you understand? So like for me, like I won't say what my biggest win is, but I know that I know like on the down part of things, I will say that I've done a lot of stuff for a lot of people that technically was not appreciated, at least to
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
I know what those experiences added to my portfolio, and how
Yeah.
I was able to use those experiences and
To
those
make better decisions.
to make better decisions, to be able to also use these experiences to work with some other people that appreciate it more, and
Yeah.
be able to put them in better situations based on those
Mm-hmm.
experiences. So I am this might seem very motivational speaker coded, but like I don't really, whatever L I take, I just take it to the chain, knowing that it's all what it's everything I've ever experienced is what put me on the path I am today. So I always appreciate it. I always respect all the experiences I have. And for the wins, whenever I see it, I tell anyone, if yesterday your highest position on the chart was you were never on the chart, and tomorrow you're
Yeah.
at 200, you should celebrate it and party and have the
Yeah.
most time. That's your win.
Mm-hmm.
Let nobody take that away from you. If what you have as a win is yesterday you were having 1,000 streams a month, and this month you had like 5,000 streams or even 2,000 streams, that is a win for you, and you should celebrate. You should let's not look down on the process, that we
Yeah.
need to get to where we want to get to. So
Mm-hmm.
every single thing is a win. Every step along the way where we get from point A to point B. Yesterday you used to have 1 million streams annually.
Mm-hmm.
You now have 2 million streams annually across all platforms. Yes, you're not Drake, you're not Beyonce, but yeah, definitely know where you were yesterday. And
Yeah.
if you put in the same work or higher level of work that helped you to get from 1 million to 2 million, you can definitely
Mm-hmm.
get to 3 million. 3 million turns to 5 million one day, and like that, like that. So nobody ever just comes in and like I know like we all want to believe like there's a magic wand. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have people in your DMs telling you that yeah, my G, just sign me, just work with me. Tomorrow I'm the next ABC XYZ. It never works that way. You need to actually do the work. It's a process, and uh, I'm even more scared of people who of overnight success. I
Mm-hmm.
prefer the step by step. You're build that way. You're building something, and you know that okay. If you know how you put this brick on here, you know
Yeah.
how to put the next brick on. But like
Yeah.
if it just happens, like you don't even know how it happens, it's
Yeah.
hard to sustain because like you
Yeah.
don't know the process. There's no guideline to how you got there. So when
Mm-hmm.
there's a guideline, it's easier because like you know what to fall back to, whenever you're
Mm-hmm.
having issues, your path is clear to you because you are the one that is building that path, and you're not just viral, and even most people that become viral successes, by the way, they have actually have been doing work to put themselves out there. So you can't even
Mm.
look down on that at the end of the day. But uh I think quantifiable success is where it's at because not everybody is going to sleep and wake up and somebody dances to your song and you start having 100 million streams annually. It's most likely not going to happen like that. It's most likely going
Yeah.
to be you doing the groundwork and going from point A to point B, whether as a creative or whether you're at the business side as well. Doing the groundwork to go from point A to point B, and from there, seeing where it now all kicks off from there.
I mean, that's a very, very insightful one. Let me quickly go to Yambi. Like, why we just rush up, and because I don't want us to have so many minutes or video that people might have issues watching. So Yambi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So what's that one truth that, or what's that one truth about sustaining a creative career that most people don't hear early enough?
I think relationships, being able to
Mm,
build relationships, connections, and collaborate. I see it a lot in music where an older artist will probably collaborates with a breakthrough artist. That keeps them relevant in the conversation. So it's not just in music, but across all creative disciplines. When you work with someone, you get into a seat into their audience. You get to connect with their audience, right? So my perspective is if you are aiming for longevity, make sure that you have very good connections with other creatives doing the same thing. Make sure that you provide value for other creatives and support them on their mission. And that's how you also grow within yourself. That's how you refine your craft, and that's how you stay consistent in the game. Think about your vision, but also think about how you can add to other people's vision who are aligned with the same vision that you have. So you're muted.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, talking about vision. So, what do you think creatives can do, or how can creatives start thinking differently towards the next 5 years in such a way that the things that they are implementing or the activities that they are engaging in are going to be fruitful?
I would say be specific about your vision as possible. Write things down. Even the Bible says that write it down and make it plain. Really put it on paper, and make sure that you move strategically. And speaking to what Ini is saying, that across the journey you're going to get wins and milestones. Maybe it might feel like a small win for someone else, but if it's being and leading up to your vision, then it's important. It's very important because small, consistent efforts they build up over time. When you think about the artists that are popping now, maybe it's in 2012, 2014 when they picked up SoundCloud or whatever software they use now to produce, and they've refined their craft over time. And now we're seeing them in year 10. There's a saying that says it takes 10 years to create an overnight success. So think about your 10 years intentionally. Think about what you can do today to take it to the next step, and that's how you grow. Sorry, you're
Yeah,
on.
let me ask you the same question. What are you most excited about for the next generation of creatives?
Yeah, like I think for me, I just want to see how they can like surprise us a lot more because like every day you're seeing like new creatives and doing things in like different ways, different manners, and just putting the continent on the map, and doing more for African music and the African industry as a whole. And like I think the younger people get it more than than the older guys do. And I really see like I won't say Afro beats because like I feel like African music is a lot more than Afro beats, but I see African music and African entertainment and African creatives and African business, people, African, creative lawyers as well, going to like levels that, we probably only dreamt about, some time ago. Cause like one thing about this age is like the world is more of a global playground, especially with creations and especially with like creatives. It's a lot easier to do something from your home, whether in South Africa, whether in Kenya, whether in Nigeria, and have like a lasting impact, globally, than it was 10 years ago. You know, um, yes, they might be that deep, but we've had more crossovers in the past 10 years than we had like 10 years ago. So now imagine what like the next 10-year holds as well. So I think I'm just excited for like how big our industry, as a continent, will be, in the future, and like the really great stuff that, um is gonna be created by our creatives essentially.
I mean, that's a very, very good one, and I think we are past 1 hour already. Uh, in a sentence, can you share with us what that thing is, or what's that narrative you would like to change about the creative world in your own way? Ini?
Oh, sorry, I think I missed that. Can you come again, please?
Okay, so in your own sentence, if you are asked to rewrite the narrative about the creative industry, right, a particular narrative, what would that be?
Yeah, I don't know if it's my network or yours, but like it's just breaking up, and I keep missing the question. I hear part of it, but I'm not making sense of it because I can't hear it the full thing.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay, I was saying that if you are asked to change a particular narrative or to rewrite a particular narrative, what would that be?
So if I heard you correctly, you're asking like if I'm asked to change a particular narrative about the entertainment industry, what would that be?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes,
Sorry?
yes,
Oh,
that's it.
so I think that would be like I think the idea that you don't have to be serious in this part of the like in the business, or you don't have to work as hard, or it's just chilling out. I think people think you're just partying and chilling every day. Yeah, I think that's absurd, man. I think that's absurd, like, because it takes a whole lot of work, and the kind of thing we do is hard to clock out because it's more active than most during the weekdays, and probably even more active sometimes during the weekends. So it's very hard to clock out. So you're working around the clock every day, you know, every day, every month, every like that. So it's very, very it's difficult. It's not an easy path at all. Like it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of hard work, um, and being principled as well to be able to get to where you are. Because like how do I put it? There's so many moving parts, and like I don't think it's different from any other industry where you're gonna have to work your ass out to be able to move forward or to be able to break even. So I think that's one thing I would like to, because I would think like, oh, you're just coming here to come and have fun and party. That's not it. You have to work and you have to get shit
I
done.
can testify to that because there are lots of times in the while I'm working with a particular client and they probably see me post, they believe that, oh, that's what I do almost every time, and they don't know almost 18 hours in a day I might just be like on different transactions, right? So because you're posting at one particular period of time, they feel like, oh, this person, or even amongst our colleagues, my colleague especially, who are probably in other sectors, banking, real estate, they just believe, oh, because he's an entertainment lawyer, he's probably just having the best time of his life. But man, it's it's not that easy. So Yambi,
Yes,
yeah. Same question for you. So if you're asked to rewrite a particular narrative in the creative industry, what would that be?
I think access for young creators, gatekeeping is still an issue. So I
Yeah,
think I would want young people to get more opportunities. I think there is a lot of talent coming up, and I would also say that within that, young people should also be keen and ready to try and create their own spaces, start their own events. But I think that when it comes to talent, we have talent in abundance. When it comes to ideas, we have ideas, especially on the continent. What I
yeah.
would change is probably help us commercialize more economic opportunities to expand careers and also give access for young people to do what they love and what they're good at. Yeah.
Hmm. I mean, that's a very good one. That's a very, very fantastic one. If you ask me, what I would probably like to change is narrative that, oh, there's a particular standard in the industry, and the fact that everyone is accepting that standard means that every other person has to. I mean, many people are accepting the standard means that every other person has to also accept it. I mean, they should contracts basically from my own standpoint should be negotiable as much as your leverage can take you, right? I think we've been able to have a very, very extensive conversation today, like flowing from the structure, the clarity, the strategies that has been offered by Inioluwa and Usher. I mean, I appreciate you guys. Like, thank you guys for showing up and helping with the first edition of the Creative Room with Kabir, a success. It's a big one all the way from South Africa. Osha, thank you so much. Inioluwa, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, on that note, like we're able to draw the curtain. I mean, it's been a very great one. It's been very, very inspiring for me, and it's been educative for many people, I believe. Right. And it's just the start of something bigger and greater, right? So it's just not going to end in this particular room. We are going to still continue to have several of these conversations every now and then, and we will continue to dish out like the best of advisory, the best of educative content with respect to how you can be able to move as a creative in the creative industry, not just music, not just fashion, not just content creation. Every and any person that is into creativity in the creative industry, this is where you should always tap into every now and then. So I'm going to post this after maybe in some hours, so you can, if you want to, rewatch and probably share with everyone, your friends and your loved ones that are not able to be here. Till the next one, Kabir.